Hello, my wonderful English learners. Welcome back to the Best English Podcast. I'm your host, Sophia, and I am truly happy to be here with you today, ready to talk about another very important part of learning English. Have you ever been in a really important talk? Maybe with a new friend you want to know better? A coworker talking about a big project? Or even just listening to a good story on a podcast like this one? You nod your head, listening to every word, but there's a small voice in your mind asking, "Did I really get that?" Or maybe you thought you understood perfectly, but a small doubt stays. What if I'm wrong? What if they mean something totally different from what I think? It's a very common feeling, isn't it? That little bit of doubt, that wish for everything to be clear. And it's this feeling that we will explore and make better together in today's episode. Because it's clear that you, my keen listeners, want to make your English skills much better. You want to go past just understanding words and truly connect and understand things exactly. And I must say, that desire is really amazing to me. Before we go on, if you're new here, a very big welcome to you. We are so glad you found us. Every day, we carefully make and put out episodes just like this one. They are made to help you improve your English talking, listening, and speaking skills. So, if you find this helpful today, if it feels right for you and helps you learn, please take a moment to click that like button wherever you're listening or watching. Your likes are very valuable. They help our podcast reach and help more wonderful learners just like you, making our lively, worldwide English learning family bigger. And of course, if you want to keep learning with us, don't forget to subscribe to the Best English Podcast and share your thoughts or questions by writing a comment below. We love hearing from you. Now, if you remember in our last episode, episode 28, we focused on making your English listening skills much better and feeling more sure of yourself, especially when conversations happen very quickly. We talked a lot about simply listening and taking everything in, how much good comes from regular practice, and how important it is to feel okay with how fast native English speakers talk. We really looked closely at how vital it is to just keep listening and practicing all the time, even when it feels hard or a bit too much. Today, we are going to take that good listening base we talked about before and make it even stronger, even more powerful. We are going to unlock the big power of active listening and the skill of asking questions to understand better in English talks. This is not just about hearing English words and knowing what they mean by themselves. It's about going past that simple level to truly understand the whole message, getting the main idea, noticing small feelings, truly showing you care, and making totally, completely sure that what you think matches exactly what the other person wants to say. In this episode, we will carefully look at why these skills are not just useful, but very, very important for you as an English speaker. We will gently guide you on how to naturally and easily use them in your daily talks. And we will show how they can truly change your conversations, making them go from simple, quick chats to truly important, clear connections that make your life and your friendships richer. So, whether you're enjoying a nice walk in the park, relaxing at home, or going to work, get ready to learn a strong new way to talk in English. Let's jump right in. Okay, friends, let's start our close look at the first main part, active listening, getting involved, not just hearing. This idea is very important because people often don't understand it well, particularly when you are learning a new language. Many of us, and I certainly did this when I was learning languages, tend to think that listening just means hearing sounds and words and then thinking about what we will say next. But active listening is much deeper than that simple idea. It really means that you must be fully in the moment, fully with the person talking, and that you make a real, clear, and steady effort to take in and understand their entire message. This means much more than just knowing what their words mean from a dictionary. It includes understanding their feelings, their true plans, and the main reason they are talking. So, to say it again and look deeper, what exactly is active listening? And why is it so incredibly important for you as an English learner? Think of it this way. When you are truly doing active listening, you are definitely not just waiting for your turn to talk, nor are you silently practicing what you will say next in your head. No, your whole mind and feelings are completely and only focused on what the other person is saying. You are not just thinking about their words, you are also carefully listening to the small details of their voice. This means noticing how they say their words, seeing if they sound excited, serious, or unsure. You are carefully watching how fast they talk. Are they speaking quickly or slowly and carefully? And, most importantly, you are watching their body language. Are their arms crossed? Are they leaning forward because they are eager? These silent signs, which are often stronger than spoken words, give you a lot of extra information that makes your understanding much better than just the words themselves. Active listening is very important for many good reasons. First, it can greatly prevent misunderstandings, which can save you from uncomfortable social times or even big mistakes at work. Second, it helps build stronger, more real friendships, because people truly feel heard, understood, and valued when you listen actively. This is a strong human need. Third, it clearly shows respect to the person talking. This is a common sign of good manners, careful thought, and a wish for a strong connection. And finally, and very usefully, it helps you answer thoughtfully and in the right way because you have truly taken in the full and rich meaning of their message. Without working hard at active listening, you might accidentally give a wrong answer to a question, miss important pieces of information, or make wrong guesses that later lead to bigger mistakes or problems in talking. Now, let's focus on some easy but very effective ways to show you are actively listening, both with your body and with quick, small sounds or words. These small signs are very powerful because they let you show you're very interested even before you say a full sentence. They set a welcoming feeling for the whole talk. Let's first look at body signals, which are the silent signs your body sends that mean a lot. Eye contact. Try to look at the person's eyes in a natural, easy way. Remember, this is not a hard, staring look. Instead, it's a steady, focused look that clearly shows you are paying attention. In many cultures, and particularly prevalent throughout the United States, appropriate eye contact powerfully conveys sincerity, honesty, and a focused interest in the speaker and their message. It clearly tells the person talking, "I am really focusing my attention on you and everything you are sharing." Nodding. Simple head nods are very effective and understood by everyone. A small, gentle nod, done sometimes, means, "I am following your thoughts," or "I get this point." It is a quick, easy way to show you understand without stopping the person's flow of talk. You can think of it as a small, kind, keep-going sign that helps them continue their story. Open body position. Try to not cross your arms tightly. This can sometimes make people think you are defensive, not interested, or closed off. Instead, stand or sit in an open, relaxed way, maybe leaning forward a little. This body position softly shows that you are open to their message, easy to talk to, and very interested in hearing more of what they have to say. It really acts as a silent invitation for the other person to keep sharing. Facial expressions. Your face is a very strong tool for showing feelings without words. It can show many feelings and understandings. A small, real smile when it's right, a thoughtful look that clearly shows you are thinking deeply, or even a small frown if you are concentrating hard instead of being confused or upset, are all strong. Your face acts like a mirror, showing your understanding and care, and it changes with the speaker's feelings, showing that you're truly paying attention to the small details of their message. I think of my good friend, Mia, who recently started her first job as a junior software engineer at a busy, fast-growing tech company in Austin, Texas. Mia is very smart and good with tech things, but in her first few weeks, she had a hard time showing she was listening during the fast, technical team meetings. She often felt worried about stopping her older, more experienced coworkers, or afraid of not having a quick, perfect answer ready. In one of our talks, I gently told her to first focus on using these small but strong body signals. So, in later meetings, Mia made a clear effort to keep looking at the person speaking in a calm way, to give a small, encouraging nod whenever something made sense to her or she understood a hard idea, and to sit or stand in an open, relaxed way. Sometimes she would also quickly and quietly write notes, which also showed she was listening. She found that she didn't need to say much at first. Her thoughtful body language alone clearly said, "I am listening very closely. I am carefully thinking about this information." Mia soon saw that this careful approach not only made her feel more connected to the talk, but also greatly helped her feel less overwhelmed by the quick flow of information. And something really interesting happened. Her coworkers started to include her more in talks, asking for her thoughts, because her way of being looked so friendly and truly interested. This first push of confidence was exactly what she needed to then feel brave enough to speak up when she had something important to say. Next, let's look at verbal affirmations, which are those wonderful short phrases or sounds you can use to show you are following along, all without stopping the speaker. They work like small spoken nudges, showing you are still paying attention. These are phrases like, uh-huh. This is a very common, natural, and often used sound that means yes or I understand. I see. This shows a clear feeling of understanding or a moment of knowing something new. Right. This often means agreement, like, yes, I agree, or yes, I know what you mean. Go on. This is a direct encouragement for the speaker to keep telling their story or explanation. Interesting. This tells them you find their words thought-provoking and engaging. Okay. A simple but good way to show you heard and noted their point. Mm-hmm. Another simple sound that clearly shows you are listening. Yes. A quick, short, and positive agreement. Really? This can show real surprise, or it can gently ask the speaker to give more details. These seemingly small, easy-to-use verbal signs are like getting a series of green lights in a talk. They clearly tell the speaker, yes, I am completely with you. My mind is actively thinking about this information. Please feel free to keep talking. They gently but effectively help the other person, making the talk feel much smoother, more continuous, and much more natural. Very importantly, they stop awkward silences and make sure the energy of the talk stays strong and easy. Now, let's go to your first practice time. Practice prompt 1, your inner listener detective. For the next day or two, I want you to try to be a listener detective. With this new idea, carefully watch how people around you, whether in real talks like at a family dinner, or in TV shows, or even by listening to other podcasts, use both their body language and these short, encouraging sounds or words. Pay close attention to when they nod, how they look at people's eyes, and exactly which small words or sounds they use to show they are actively listening. Later, when you are listening to English, maybe a podcast or a short video, try to use these methods yourself. Not along with the content. Imagine the speaker in front of you and say those small uh-huhs or I sees out loud. Don't worry if you feel a bit strange or silly at first. This is a normal part of learning. Instead, focus on how this active way of taking part changes how connected you feel to the English content you're listening to. You might be truly surprised at how much more information you can remember and understand. So, we've carefully made a strong base with active listening. You now know how to show that you are listening and open. This is, for sure, a very big step forward. Now, let's smoothly move to the next important part, the skill of asking questions, making sure you truly understand. Because even with the most steady and careful active listening, there will always be times when you need more specific facts or when you want to fully confirm that your idea of what was said is exactly right. It is at these key moments that the smart act of asking questions becomes your most powerful and needed tool. Why, you might ask, are these questions so incredibly and very important? They are like strong, well-built bridges that easily connect what you currently understand with what the speaker truly and originally meant. They are useful for much more than just fixing immediate problems. They actively and strongly make your talks much better, turning them into a much more effective and clear exchange. Specifically, they help you to fill in missing parts. Often, information is not said clearly, but rather hinted at or only partly given. Asking questions helps you find those small, hidden facts that you might otherwise miss. Fix wrong understandings. Sometimes what you first thought a message meant might be a little wrong or not complete. A good question gives you the chance to fix that wrong understanding before it becomes a bigger problem. Show true interest and respect. This is a huge and often forgotten benefit. When you carefully ask a question, it clearly tells the speaker, I am not just hearing your words. I am making a real, strong, and deep effort to truly understand you completely. This makes people feel truly valued, respected, and so much more willing and happy to keep talking with you. Get exactness and specifics. These questions help you move past general ideas and find exact information, specific facts, and the small details of a situation. Stop big mistakes. By asking for clear answers early, you can stop mistakes, save time, and avoid wrong talks that could happen later from wrong guesses. It is much easier and faster to ask a quick question now than to fix a big mistake or wrong understanding later when it might be more important. They have the amazing power to truly make unclear ideas totally clear. Let's now carefully look at several types of questions and find very useful phrases that you can easily use in your English talks right away, making both your understanding and your talking skills better. Saying it again in your own words to check. This is a very strong and good method where you quickly say what you think you have heard, but with one important change. You do it using your own unique words. The main goal of saying it again is to check if you understood correctly with the speaker, making sure you both agree perfectly. It's like holding up a mirror to the talk and gently asking, is this exactly what you wanted to say? This way, the speaker can either say you got it right or gently fix anything you might have missed. So, if I get this right, you're saying the project deadline is now for sure next Friday, not this Wednesday like we first thought? This is a very specific check on an important date, making sure there's no confusion about times. Are you saying that the main big goal for this quarter is to make our customers stay with us more instead of our old focus on getting many new customers right now? Here, you are carefully checking the main goal or the change in what's most important for a certain time. Let me just see if I truly understood this. You mean we really need to completely change and build the whole marketing plan from the beginning, and not just make a few small changes to the social media plan we have now? This question helps make clear the exact size or scope of a task or idea. In other words, you're looking for new software that is both cheap for what we need now and can grow easily to fit our plans for the future. This nicely summarizes what they really need in a simple, easy-to-understand way. I'm thinking of my friend, David, who works for a software company in Silicon Valley, California. He works from home with a team. Because his coworkers were in different time zones and had different levels of English, talking clearly could sometimes be hard. David told me openly that he often found himself guessing what people really meant in quick online meetings. This often led to annoying redoing work and mistakes he could have avoided in his coding. Knowing this problem kept happening, he made a clear and strong choice to start saying things again in his own words to check if he understood. For example, after a coworker would explain a new software feature, David would make sure to clearly say, "Okay, so if I understand right, you want me to work on making the database run better before I even start putting the user interface on the front of the website. Is that right?" Or, when his manager talked about a new main task for the team, he would carefully check by asking, "Are you saying that our most important job right now should be making the new payment system before we fix the old code in this work period?" This simple but very good habit saved him many hours of fixing code, stopped many possible mistakes before they became big problems, and in the end, it clearly made the team work better and together. His coworkers truly liked his clear effort, seeing it as something valuable, and David himself felt much more sure of himself when doing his tasks, knowing he had truly and fully understood what he needed to do. Asking for more details or examples. This type of question is very, very important. When you have understood the general idea of what was said, but you still need more exact facts, more about the situation, or clear examples to fully and completely understand the speaker's exact point. Really, you are politely asking them to draw a clearer, more detailed picture for you to understand. Could you tell me a bit more about that point you made about the market changes? I truly want to understand how those changes affect money matters more deeply. This is a request for a deeper, more specific explanation about an idea or situation. Could you maybe give me a specific, real example of what you mean by customer involvement when we talk about our exciting new mobile app? This asks for a real, clear picture that helps make a somewhat unclear word clearer. Can you explain what you mean exactly by working well together? I must say, I'm not totally familiar with that word or how it's used exactly, and I want to be totally sure I understand it correctly in this talk. This question is very useful when you hear new or strange words or jargon, making sure you understand them exactly. What exactly does making the work easier mean for my team's daily jobs and tasks? How will it truly change how we work? This asks for a clear understanding of the real actions, work changes, or direct results of a stated goal. Could you please tell me about the specific problems you had during the early testing of the product? I'm truly curious about the detailed issues and blocks that came up. This is an invitation for a more detailed story, a step-by-step account, or a deep breakdown of past experiences. When you say next steps, Do you mean we should start those actions immediately today? Or are you talking about actions that should be done over the next few days or weeks? This seeks to make clear the timing, how urgent tasks are, or the exact period for action. I remember a nice story about my friend Lena, who was at a very lively barbecue in Denver, Colorado. She started talking to someone new who was excitedly describing a recent hiking trip. The person happily said, "Oh, it was a total adventure." Lena, of course, knew what the word adventure meant, but she didn't quite get the size or the exact kind of this adventure. Was it an adventure with amazing views, very hard physical challenges, or many surprising and sudden events? Instead of just nodding and moving on, Lena saw this as a great chance to connect more deeply. She replied with real curiosity, "Oh, adventure! That sounds really interesting. Could you maybe give me a specific example? What was the most adventurous part of your trip?" Or, she might have said, "That sounds so exciting." Can you explain what you mean by adventure in that situation? For instance, was it more about walking on difficult and hard land, or about seeing new cultures and unexpected things along the way? This simple but thoughtful question immediately asked the person to share much richer, more personal, and clear details. It truly changed a short general statement into a captivating and memorable story. Lena not only learned more English words about travel and challenges, but also made a real connection with the person's unique experience, making the whole talk much more memorable and truly enjoyable for both of them. Asking for repetition or slower speech. This type of question is very important and useful when someone is speaking too fast, has a strong or strange accent that makes it hard to understand, or when there is a lot of noise that stops you from hearing clearly. The main and firm rule here is to always, and I mean always, be polite and use soft words when you ask for this. This makes sure that your request is taken as a true wish to understand rather than as a complaint about how they talk. "I'm very sorry. I didn't quite hear that last sentence you just said. Could you please repeat that for me?" This is a polite, direct request to simply say something again, clearly showing you missed a part. "Would you mind saying that a bit slower for me? I just want to make completely sure I'm following every single detail, especially that last part you mentioned, as it seemed very important." Explaining the reason for your request, your wish to get every detail, makes the request much softer and easier to understand. It shows you want to understand. "I'm so sorry. I think I accidentally missed the last part of what you were saying. Could you please say it again for me, just so I can catch up?" This phrase nicely admits your own problem or distraction without saying it's their fault, which is a very polite approach. "Could you maybe say that in another way? I really want to be totally clear on your idea, and sometimes using different words truly helps me understand it better." This is a useful choice instead of just repeating. It asks them to say the same idea using different words, which can often make things clearer than just hearing the same words again. "Excuse me, the sound here is a bit bad for me, making it hard to hear clearly. Could you please repeat the main idea from that last part you were talking about?" Blaming the difficulty on something in the environment, such as bad sound rather than their speaking style, is an exceptionally polite and considerate way to make your request. Think about Omar, a hardworking university student from Boston, Massachusetts. He was trying hard to talk with a new friend in a very noisy coffee shop on campus. His friend said something very important about a group project they shared, but Omar, sadly, missed a key detail because of the loud coffee machines and the constant buzz of talks around them. Instead of just nodding and hoping he could guess the missing info, he confidently and politely used a question. He said with a real smile, "Excuse me, I'm really sorry, but it's a bit noisy in here. Would you mind saying that last sentence about the project deadline a bit slower for me?" His friend immediately understood Omar's problem, gave a kind smile, and quickly repeated the important information clearly and at a slower, easier speed. Omar felt very calm and relieved, knowing that he wouldn't accidentally miss important project details simply because of challenging background noise or a momentary lapse in focus. This small but strong act of asking for clarity not only stopped a possible problem with the group project, but also gently made his new friendship deeper, showing his wish for good talks. Now, here is your second practice time. Practice prompt 2, the video clarification exercise. To truly use these skills, I want you to find a short English video. Perhaps select a simple news report, a quick interview, a part of a documentary, or even a scene from a TV show. Try to pick something that is about 1 to 2 minutes long, making sure it's easy to focus on. First, watch the whole video one time without stopping. Your main goal in this first watch is simply to get the general idea or the main topic being conveyed. Don't worry about every single word. Now, watch the video again. This time, make a clear effort to pause the video every 30 seconds. After each pause, your job is to try to say the main idea of that 30-second part using your own words. Make sure to say it out loud. This vocalization helps solidify your comprehension and trains your brain to process and re-articulate. Next, from each of those 30-second parts, clearly find one specific word or phrase that you didn't fully understand or that felt a bit vague or unclear. Once identified, mentally or even out loud, make a precise, clarifying question about it. For example, you might think or say, "What exactly does long-term growth mean here?" Component placement, or "Can you give me a clear example of what you mean by new technology?" Component placement, or perhaps, "Can you explain how things move in the supply chain in simpler words for me?" Finally, if you find a part where a speaker talks very, very fast, so much so that you struggle to keep up, practice mentally saying, or even saying out loud, quietly, "Could you say that slower?" Or, "Could you repeat that part?" Do this every single time you find yourself struggling with their pace. This systematic and consistent practice builds both your active listening muscles and significantly enhances your readiness and confidence to ask clear, effective questions when it truly matters in real-life conversations. You have truly come so far on this communication journey. We have now carefully built a strong way to understand deeply and check things confidently. You know how to use good active listening signs, and you are good at making strong, clear questions. You are truly becoming a good talker. Now, in this final, crucial segment, we will delve into advanced strategies and the art of overcoming hesitation. Here, our discussion will center on how to skillfully use these newly learned abilities in real dynamic talk settings, including the often tricky yet absolutely vital skill of knowing when and how to politely interrupt. Most importantly, we will face and get over any shyness or doubt you might still have about asking questions. This, my friends, is the exact point where your English communication will begin to truly shine, where you will gracefully go from just being understood to becoming a truly good, sure, and interesting speaker. Let's begin by examining the critical skill of knowing when and how to interrupt politely for immediate clarification. There are indeed times when you find yourself in a rapidly unfolding discussion, and you simply cannot afford to wait for a natural break in the conversation. Crucial information is being given to you with great swiftness, and you need that key piece of understanding right at that very moment, before the topic shifts entirely or the discussion goes too far ahead, leaving you behind. There is, without a doubt, a smart and very respectful way to stop someone. The main goal is always to get your specific question answered without being seen as rude, without completely stopping the ongoing conversation, and most critically, without making the speaker feel as though they have been suddenly cut off or not respected. Acknowledge first, then ask. This is a very good and very helpful way to do it. Start your interruption with a short, polite phrase to get attention, and then, right away, follow with your short, clear question. For example, you might say, "Excuse me, Michael, I just had a very quick question about that point you just made before we go on. Could you clarify?" This clearly tells them that you know and respect their flow of thought, but you need an urgent and immediate, clear answer. Use softening phrases. These words are your very best friends in these possibly delicate situations. Phrases such as, "Before you move on," "Sorry to stop you," "If I could just say something quickly," or "Just to be clear," immediately send a clear sign of respect for their turn to talk and show that your interruption is only for getting clarity, not to take control of the talk. Be brief and direct. Your interruption, when it happens, should be as short, as clearly focused, and as clear as possible. Go straight to the exact question that you urgently need answered. It is very important to not start a new topic or give a long, confusing reason for why you are stopping. The faster and more exactly you ask your question, the smoother the whole talk will stay. Maintain a polite and curious tone of voice. How you say things is very important here. Your voice should clearly show true interest and a real wish to understand, rather than any sign of impatience, anger, or blaming. A calm, curious, and friendly voice makes the interruption much easier and less harsh for the speaker. A quick "sorry" if needed, a simple, real, and short "Sorry to interrupt, but could you please explain X?" often works very well at these times. It shows you know you are stopping them while also quickly and well getting your immediate need for clarity met. I recall a particularly clear example involving my friend Sarah, who thrives in a very active and very hard digital marketing team in Miami, Florida. In their tough weekly planning meetings, ideas, campaign results, and detailed client feedback often go around very quickly and excitingly. Sarah sometimes found herself needing immediate and exact clarity on a specific budget number or a small detail of client feedback before the talk inevitably changed to another topic. Knowing this need happened often, she started carefully practicing the skill of polite interruptions. If her team leader, Mark, happened to mention a somewhat unclear goal for a future campaign or quickly talked about a client project she didn't know well, Sarah would quickly, yet very gently and respectfully, step in. For example, she might say, "Excuse me, Mark, could I just ask a very quick question about that 15% goal? Is that specific number for making more money or for customer involvement? Or perhaps, sorry to interrupt, but could you clarify when you just mentioned Project Alpha? Were you specifically talking about the old project we did 3 months ago or the new plan for the coming 3 months?" Mark consistently said he liked this way because it clearly showed her active listening and thinking ahead, and it very importantly helped stop any possible misunderstandings or wrong directions later in the project. Sarah personally found that these short, well-timed, and politely given interruptions actually made her seem more professional, more careful with details, and in the end, more valuable to the team rather than less. It truly helped her feel much more sure of herself in such fast-paced work settings. Now for your third practice time, practice prompt 3, the polite interruption rehearsal. Take a moment to truly think about a specific situation, either a real one you have personally experienced or an imagined one, where you might have needed to politely interrupt to get important clarity in an English talk. Perhaps it was during a lively class talk, an important team meeting, or even a simple informal chat with a new friend. Now, actively practice saying 2 or 3 different ways you could have politely done that interruption. Say these phrases out loud, paying careful attention to your voice and your exact words. For example, if you happen to speak about leverage in a business context, and you're not entirely sure what it specifically means in that instance, you could practice saying, "Excuse me, before you move on, could you just briefly explain what leverage means in this specific situation you are talking about?" Or, alternatively, "Sorry to stop me, but just to be totally clear, what does it mean exactly to leverage those specific things in this context?" Keep practicing these phrases until they feel completely natural and easy for you to say. Next, let's deeply consider how the deliberate act of asking questions inherently leads to much richer, significantly more meaningful, and truly interesting conversations. It's very important to know that asking questions is not solely about fixing problems or just getting facts. It actively and deeply makes your English talks better, taking them to a level that is much more interesting, more advanced, and deeply satisfying. Asking questions is not just about quietly getting answers. It is a powerful and clear invitation to gently open up new, deeper paths for talking and to actively build stronger, more real connections with the people you are talking with. When you thoughtfully make and ask a clear question, you are often showing a deep level of true interest and active listening that can, very naturally and simply, lead to a much more detailed, personal, and exciting talk. For instance, imagine a time when someone briefly says, "My weekend was quite eventful." If your response is simply a nod and a general, "Okay," the talk might just stop there, ending quickly. However, if you softly lean in, showing your involvement, and then ask with true curiosity, "Oh, eventful? That sounds really interesting. Could you perhaps give me an example of what exactly made it so eventful?" In this instance, you are not merely asking for a dictionary meaning. Instead, you are kindly asking them to share a good story, to provide clear and descriptive facts, to tell about a personal experience, or to clearly describe their feelings and reactions. And it is exactly at this point that real human connections grow, where people's true selves shine brightly, and where you get the very valuable chance to learn about the other person in a much deeper and more detailed way. You are, in short, cleverly changing a short, closed statement into a great chance for a rich, open story. This is exactly how good English speakers build good relationships, make true friendships, and smartly guide talks to be longer, more important, and much more memorable, rather than allowing them to quickly disappear into silence. It clearly shows that you are not just quietly hearing their words. You are truly interested in their entire experience, their unique view, and their inner thoughts. It is a clear and sure sign that you are on your way to becoming a very skilled and interesting talker. Finally, and perhaps the most profoundly important point of all that we will address today, let's thoroughly discuss the crucial process of getting over any lingering shyness and natural hesitation you might feel about asking questions. This is a very common problem that countless English learners, no matter how good they are now, always face. This shyness often comes from a deep fear of seeming not smart, or a quiet worry about showing a perceived weakness, or the uncomfortable feeling that can come from making a mistake, or even just the simple feeling of awkwardness. It is time, my dear listeners, for a very important and truly empowering change in how you think. It's normal to ask questions. Please, remember this basic truth and truly understand it. Everyone asks questions. This is a clear fact of human interaction. Native English speakers ask questions constantly, all the time, as a normal part of their daily talks. It is a completely normal, entirely natural, and an absolutely essential component of how people interact, understand each other, and build good connections. The act of asking questions demonstrates that you are curious, that you are actively and carefully listening, and that you are truly trying to understand well, not that you are not smart or don't understand. Think for a moment about how often you yourself ask questions in your first language when you desire to make something completely clear or seek further information. The dynamic is precisely the same in English. It is an expected and welcomed part of communication. Focus on being curious, not weak. It is very important that you completely change how you think about your need for clear information. You are not asking because you are not smart enough or because you don't understand. Instead, you are asking because you are truly interested in the topic. You want to be exact in your understanding. You greatly value clear and good communication, and you want to make sure the talk or task goes as well as possible. You have a true wish to really understand, rather than just pretending you do. This way of thinking is clearly a strong point, not a weakness, and it shows a good effort to be clear and excellent. Practice in low-stakes situations first. This is a truly great, safe, and very good way to slowly build and grow your confidence over time. Begin by practicing making and asking clear questions with a language partner whom you completely trust, or with a patient and understanding friend, a helpful teacher, or even by talking to yourself in front of a mirror. This careful practice helps your brain and your mouth get used to forming these questions easily, which in turn greatly lessens any nervousness you might feel when you face larger, more important situations, such as job interviews or important work meetings. The more consistently you practice, the easier, more comfortable, and more natural the process will become. Remember the immense benefit, the short, quick feeling of being uncomfortable or awkward that you might feel for just a second or two when you ask a question is tiny, truly very small, especially when compared to the possible long-term problems, big frustrations, or costly mistakes you might accidentally make because you misunderstood something very important or wrongly trusted a wrong guess. Being totally clear and exact in your talk is always, every time, worth that short and quick feeling of hesitation. The big good things that come from being clear and exact are much, much bigger than any first uncomfortable feeling you might have. I wish to share the transformative experience of a remarkable student named Carlos, a thoughtful and very smart man from San Diego, California. Carlos was very good with numbers and difficult data, yet he was incredibly shy and quiet when it came to speaking English, particularly when he needed to ask questions in professional settings. He confessed to me, with a hint of vulnerability, that he frequently felt stupid or slow for needing to ask for clear and exact information, even when he was carefully working with intricate financial data in his demanding job. I encouraged him, with great emphasis, to completely change his entire way of thinking about this inner struggle. I told him, with belief, "Carlos, you are not stupid for asking. Instead, You are smart for actively seeking clarity. You are showing that you are paying careful attention, thinking carefully and deeply, and making sure that your work is accurate and precise. That, Carlos, is a powerful and very valuable strength in any job, not a weakness. Inspired by this new way of thinking, Carlos carefully began practicing with me, gradually progressing to carefully talking with a friendly coworker during informal coffee breaks. He soon found that by completely changing how he talked to himself in his mind, and by getting truly good and encouraging reactions from others, his initial shyness began to surprisingly go away very quickly. He came to the profound understanding that people truly liked his questions, because his questions consistently made talks more helpful, made unclear things clear for everyone involved in the talk, and strongly showed his true dedication to doing tasks correctly and with honesty. He learned firsthand, through direct experience, that asking questions is not a sign of weakness, but instead, it is a truly powerful, essential, and highly respected skill for truly good talking. And now for your fourth and final practice time. Practice Prompt 4, Your Next English Conversation Plan. Before you engage in your very next real English talk, whether it is with a close friend, a professional coworker, a beloved family member, or even someone you meet in customer service, I want you to clearly choose one specific type of clarifying question that we talked about today that you are determined to focus on and use. Perhaps your choice will be saying it again to confirm your understanding, or maybe you will aim to ask for more specific details, or perhaps, with great courage, you will try to bravely attempt a polite request for repetition. Whichever type you select, promise yourself to use it regularly, consistently, and thoughtfully for the next 7 days, and then truly observe how positively it impacts your ability to communicate more deeply and to speak with significantly greater clarity and confidence. I am very sure that you will feel a big and lasting good change in your English skills. And that, my dedicated listeners, beautifully brings us to the enriching conclusion of another inspiring and, I sincerely hope, immensely helpful episode of the Best English Podcast. I genuinely hope that today's comprehensive and detailed exploration of active listening and the truly essential art of asking clarifying questions has given you many new practical strategies and, perhaps most importantly, has made you feel stronger, more profound, and more confident for your ongoing and remarkable English journey. Always remember this fundamental truth. Communication, especially when learning a new language, is much more than just the mere exchange of facts. It is fundamentally about making real connections with people, truly understanding them on a deeper, more caring level, and confidently and clearly expressing your unique thoughts, feelings, and lively personality. These vital skills that we've talked about today are your very needed keys to gracefully opening truly meaningful, clear, and very enjoyable English conversations in every single part of your life. So, your clear, actionable, and empowering goal for this upcoming week, my amazing listeners, is to thoughtfully choose at least 2 of the specific ways we talked about today. Perhaps your starting point will be to consciously practice those silent, active listening signs. Maybe you'll focus on nodding more intentionally and maintaining comfortable, engaged eye contact. Or perhaps you'll make a firm and unwavering commitment to consistently use the technique of saying it again to confirm understanding at least once in every English talk you engage in. Maybe you'll bravely try asking for a specific example when something feels unclear, pushing past any initial shyness, or even courageously attempt a polite interruption when you absolutely need clarity in that very moment. Whatever you choose to focus on, commit yourself to implementing it regularly, consistently, and thoughtfully for the next 7 days, and then truly observe how positively it impacts your ability to communicate more deeply and to speak with significantly greater clarity and confidence. I am very sure that you will feel a substantial and lasting positive transformation in your English proficiency. If you found this episode genuinely helpful, if it sparked a new idea within you, if it provided you with a crucial new tool for your English learning, please take a moment right now, yes, right now as you're listening, to hit that like button wherever you're enjoying this podcast. Your likes are so incredibly valuable. They truly act as a guiding light, helping our podcast reach and empower even more dedicated learners just like you, thereby making our wonderful global English learning community stronger, more interconnected, and vibrantly diverse. And I would absolutely love to hear directly from you. What's one specific clarifying question you are determined to use this week? Or perhaps you have a personal story, a real-life example, about how asking a question specifically helped you navigate a challenging or confusing English situation. Share your insights, your challenges, and your triumphs in the comments below. Your experiences enrich us all. And of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the Best English Podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes, which are always packed with practical advice, helpful ideas, and friendly conversations meticulously designed to support you every single step of the way on your journey to truly mastering English. Thank you so much for listening today, for your incredible dedication, and for generously dedicating this valuable time to your own growth and continuous improvement. Keep engaging, keep clarifying, keep connecting, and most importantly, keep profoundly enjoying every single step of the truly incredible and rewarding journey of mastering English. Until next time, please take excellent care of yourselves and speak confidently.